Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Bearbackers. Hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving and didn't eat too much like I did. We had a full weekend of basketball at the Fair Center this past weekend, as some of you know, because a lot of you were there. We had 5 games in about a 30 or 31 hour period. So we basically lived at the Fair Center this weekend. This week, tomorrow, the Sugar Bears play at Alcorn State, 6 p.m. tomorrow night in Lorman, Mississippi. You can listen to our man Steve Owens on the Bear 91.3 for that game. Wednesday night, the Bears go on the road, take on Loyola Chicago, the Ramblers. Tip-off's 8 p.m. Wednesday night on ESPN Plus, also on the Bear 91.3 and 92.7 Jack FM. Then on Saturday, Sugar Bears are back at home 1 p.m. at the Fair Center. In-state foe, the Little Rock Trojans. And appropriately, it's going to be Coach Ron Marvel Day at the Fair Center, honoring our all-time winningest coach at UCA in any sport. And not ironically, we'll be facing his old friend and rival, Coach Joe Foley from Little Rock. They had a lot of battles back in the day. And then next Tuesday, the men host ASU at the Fair Center on Whiteout Night. This past week, Coach Rushing's Sugar Bears came back from a 7-day Thanksgiving break, played our old crosstown rival Hendrix on Saturday morning. Sugar Bears prevailed 65-54, probably a little tighter game than Coach Rushing would have preferred. We dominated the first quarter 17-5. Second quarter was about even, and we led 48-30 after 3 quarters. Hendrix came back and got a little hot from the field. In the fourth quarter, made it more of a game down the stretch than we probably wanted. We have to talk about junior Kiara Prim as we did last week. We talked at length last week, and she lit it up again. Had a huge double-double, 24 points, 18 rebounds. In fact, she had a double-double by halftime. She had 15 points and 11 rebounds at the half. She ended up with 14 offensive rebounds, which was half as many as Hendrix's total of 28 rebounds. She had 14 on the offensive end. How about this for a statistic? She leads the nation, all of Division I women's basketball, in offensive rebounds, 7.2 a game. 7.2 rebounds total for a game is good. She averaged 7.2 offensive rebounds per game. Averages 10.6 total, which is 19th in the country. And she is 5'9", by the way. I looked up women's national basketball stats this morning on their website. She's 19th in the country in total rebounds. Here's the heights of the ones that are above her. Some of them. I'm not going to read all of them. 6'3", 6'1", 6'4", 6'1", 6'6", 6'3", 6'5", 6'5", 6'5", 6'4", and then 5'9", Kiara Prim. That's just pretty amazing. It really is. Also in that game, Kenley Fisher, a freshman from Greenwood, had 10 points, hit a couple of big threes. Paris Atkins, a freshman from Bryant, also had 10. As I said, Saturday it's Coach Ron Marvel Day at the Fair Center. Coach Marvel coached the Sugar Bears from the 80-81 season through the 2003-2004 season. He actually retired as the winningest women's basketball coach in Arkansas history. He has since been passed by his old friend Joe Foley, who's at Little Rock, who will be here Saturday. So, ironically enough, pretty appropriate that those two rivals will be on the same court again on Saturday. We're looking forward to that. Coach Rushing is on a bus headed to Alcorn State, so we'll hear from her here next Monday. Men's basketball team came back from an Ireland trip, got a few days to rest and eat some turkey before hosting the Central Arkansas Classic Saturday and Sunday at the Fair Center, as I mentioned. Saturday's game was against our old friends from Northwestern State that we played for 15 years in the Southland Conference. Looked like we might have had a little bit too much turkey in that one, shooting-wise. Had a little turkey hangover. We shot 34.7% from the field, and we're 6 of 26 from three-point range. Ended up a 74-66 overtime loss to the Demons. Junior Messiah Olawokere continued his solid play. He's been as solid as anybody this season. Had his first career double-double, 16 points, 11 rebounds, and he nailed the three-pointer at the buzzer that sent us to overtime. Three-pointer after a very long officials review. If you were at the game, you know what I'm talking about. Sophomore center Churchill Bounds kind of came into his own this weekend. He had a career-high 12 points and 5 rebounds off the bench on Saturday. That earned him a start on Sunday. Bears held off the Idaho State Bengals 81-77 in another extremely exciting game at the Fair Center. Also went down to the wire. Sophomore guard Cameron Hunter scored 8 straight points down the stretch, and junior guard Colin Cooper made a pair of free throws with 1.7 seconds left to seal the win. 5 Bears in double figures, led by Hunter, Cooper, and Eddy Kayouloud with 16 points each. Masai enjoyed that double-double so much Saturday, he did another one on Sunday. He had 15 points, 10 rebounds. Coop went 4 of 6 from three-point range, and we needed all of those threes, obviously, as I told you the final score. Now we head to Loyola, Chicago for a Wednesday night game against the Ramblers. The Ramblers and their team chaplain, Sister Jean, you might remember, became famous in the Final Four run they made in 2018 NCAA tournament. Sister Jean's courtside with the team, leading the team prayer, all that, all over the media. She's still there. I looked her up this morning. In August, she turned 103 years old. 103 years old. So I emailed their SID this morning to see if she still attends the games, if she's still healthy enough. His response, and I quote, "Healthy as a horse." In fact, I just had to run your stats over to her for her scouting emails that she sends to the players. So she's apparently their scouting director as well. So I have a plan. Since we have a Gene, we're going to start sending stats to Gene. He's going to be our scouting, no, Mr. Gene. Sister Gene, Mr. Gene. We're going to do this. We're going to make this work. So all scouting reports now go through Gene. That's good. Anyway, she will be at the game. I've been assured that she will be there. The Ramblers are 2-4 overall. They have a neutral site loss to number 24 Texas A&M. Their most recent game was Friday. They lost to Harvard at Harvard, 61-55. Again, that game is scheduled for ESPN Plus, 8 p.m. tip, and will also be on the Bear and on the Jack. And Coach Boone has a couple of special guests, coaching staff, and 2 of our players with us today. So I'm going to turn it over to Coach Anthony Boone.
Is this okay? No, okay. I thought it'd be okay down there. All right. I wanted to bring the staff up here. Steve asked if I could bring them, and I was glad to. We're missing a couple. Scott is in class. No, Scott's at work, his other job. He's at work, sorry. Brandon Vanover, our GA, and who handles a lot of our ops, is in class. And John Cranford is off handling some of the logistics for our trip. We're flying out tomorrow morning. On your far left is Jeff Price. He's the associate head coach. I've known Jeff for, what year is this? 20, 22? How long has it been?
Almost 20.
Yeah, we've known each other for almost 20 years. And even though we've only worked together for a little over a year, we've known each other for almost 20 years. I've known him longer than the rest of the guys on staff. And we've always been of similar mind. We've always been of similar interests. And not that we are twins by any sort of meaning, but we are of like minds, and we've always gravitated towards each other. We see each other out on the road recruiting. We always would hang out with each other at the NABC convention. And when we had an opening, he's the first person I called. And I don't know if his wife said, "You need to say yes right away." And he did. I'm so glad he did. Has brought a wealth of experience. He's been a longtime head coach at Sinclair College in Dayton, Ohio, and for was it 3 or 4 years you were AD there? I'm sorry, 10 years he was AD there also. Sorry, 10 years he was AD while being head coach for a lot, what, 20 years head coach? Yes, a lot of experience, and has helped us a tremendous amount in the short time he's been here. Coach Price played at Marshall also. Yes, he played at Marshall, played basketball there. Coach Witters, you guys have seen him. He's been here for how long now? 5 years? 5 years? Yes. And I was an assistant when he got here, and I remember being involved with helping him in the interview process, or helping Coach Pennell in the interview process with him. And after Coach Witters was here for a couple of months, I remember telling Russ, I believe Brock's going to, when it's all said and done, have more sense than all of us put together. And I mean, he married a doctor who is a doctor, and she can beat everybody at golf, and she probably could beat all of us at horse. And she bakes pies better than anybody we know, and I'm probably going to find out she can sing too and do whatever. And he's great at his job. So has tremendously helped us on the recruiting side and with what we do strategy-wise on the court. Has been a great help to the program. I don't want to say that Coach E has been the biggest thing that's happened for us, because everyone in our program is super important. But I think what he brings to us is something that I think of as being extremely, extremely important. When we were getting ready to go to the ASUN, Coach Fodio and I met, and he said, Coach, you guys need your own guy. I said, yeah, that'd be great. And Coach Fodio and I met with Dr. Teague and said, Dr. Teague, men's basketball needs their own strength coach. I have a guy in mind. Dr. Teague said, let's do it. And it was Coach E. And I told Coach E, I told Coach Fodio, I told Dr. Teague, I told my staff, I tell my guys all the time. As an assistant coach here, and even the first couple years, I witnessed too many times us not have a chance in games because we just physically were not able to hold our own. The weight room is extremely important. The strength and conditioning side, especially the strength side, is very, very important to me. It's very important to me. I still, myself, strength train. I do. And I make it a point to make sure my guys know that. I make it a point to make sure that the recruits know that. Whenever there is any type of time crunch, I'm always going to yield time to the weight room. Coach Elias has done a tremendous job with our guys, and I think we got the biggest compliment we could get in a loss after Northwestern State. The Northwestern State coach, which Northwestern State is a really good team. They are a really good team. They struggled for a couple of games, and then they found their rhythm. They went and beat TCU, who was ranked, what were they ranked like?
30.
I think that they were ranked in the top 15 in the country at that point. And from that point on, they have just beat everybody. And we had a poor shooting night, we had a poor showing, and we still had a chance to win. But after that game, that coach knows Coach Price, because Coach Price is, he's not old, but he's experienced and knows a lot of people. That Coach Price knows that coach, and he talked to him afterwards. Was it the next day? The next day. He said, Coach, your guys are physical. They beat us up. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to make it through today. He said, your guys pushed us around like a Power 5 team. And that is all due to the commitment, one, from our guys, but also what Coach Elias brings to the table. I tell my recruits, it's important to me. And it's this important. I train myself. I don't play. I train myself. And I ask every recruit when we go on a Zoom meeting with them or we have them for an official visit or unofficial visit, how much, Mr. Gene, how much do you think I can bench press? You got it. You got it. Now, it actually has dropped a little bit. After COVID, things slowed down. I say a little bit, it's dropped quite a bit. It's probably more between 420 and 430 now. But at that point, it was 450. Yeah, I know I'm soft. But it's that important that I do it, and I don't compete. So it's highly important. The weight room is highly important. And Coach E, again, these guys are great, and they do a great job. And Coach Cranford does a great job. Coach Vanover brings a lot to the table. Scott Ashby does a lot for our program. Coach Elias brings just as much as anybody else with what he does with our guys in the weight room. It's super important. It's making a huge difference on the court. Our guys have been transformed. It's hard for us to see it because we see them every day, and we don't see the change because it's so much slower, and we go against each other every day. But when a team like that, a team that's a good team that's played great competition, tells us, Coach, your guys have it, we know that it's making a difference, and we know it's going to carry out in the long run. So, thank you. Thank you, guys. We brought up a couple of our players, and Johannes, if you would please come up here. I'll have to lower this for him. He's not quite as tall as I am. I think he's a little bit taller than Matt. 475. I'm going to lift right after this then. Okay. Johannes Kirsipuu is from Estonia. I'll let you tell them what town. But if you would, talk about where you grew up, your family, your siblings, what you're studying, and what you have learned so far here at UCA.
Yes, sir. All right, so my name is Johannes Kirsipuu, but most of y'all know me as Yo-Yo. I grew up in a small city. We had like, I think, 1,000 people in our town, not even city, town. And I have a pretty big family, so I have my parents, mom and dad. Then I got 2 older brothers who also played basketball. But, you know, I'm the best one, so you can't really argue with that. I started playing when I was 5. And I just love the game. Like, what else can I say? And then what I study general business right now. I just picked the kind of easy one right now, just trying to see what I like, what I don't like.
That's not that easy.
As a freshman, it's not that hard right now. But yeah, and I just love the environment here, like the crowd. To be honest, I never played with that big of a crowd in my life. Maybe European Championship with my national team, maybe, but. Yeah, the crowd is amazing. As I saw from the stats, I think it was like over 1,000 people. Maybe I'm lying, maybe not. But it's huge. It's huge to me. Like, the crowd gives me a lot of energy, and it just feels great to be part of Bear Nation. Thank you.
I just want to say, I love your energy, man.
Appreciate you.
You give me energy.
You give me energy.
You give me energy. And I'm the one that brings the energy around, you know?
You know, that's kind of relationship. You give me energy, I'll give you energy. So I like that. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. Yes, sir.
Has it been an adjustment from the international rules to the U.S. basketball rules? Has that been much of an adjustment for you?
Not really, cause I came to States when I was 15. I played the whole high school in States. So, but it is kind of different. You know, you can pass over the half court and all that type of stuff, but in Europe you can't do that. And also, we got 30 seconds on the shot clock, so we got way more time to score and do other stuff. But not really. I'm kind of used to it, so yeah. Yes,
Where
ma'am.
did you graduate from high school?
I went to Scotland campus in Pennsylvania. Yes, ma'am.
We've decided that you're the kind of player that your teammates love you on the team, the other team's going to hate you because you just get after them so much. Is that kind of the way you see yourself?
Yeah, I like to be like the Patrick Beverly of the team, so kind of aggressive, kind of player who everybody hates, but everybody loves when you on the team.
Pesky.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a good word.
Any other questions?
Who's your favorite basketball player?
I'm gonna let you guess. Look at me.
You know,
Who?
like Luka?
Exactly.
You remind me of Luka. That's what I was thinking.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you.
Coach Boone, what does he bring to the team? Maybe what's his?
Yes, Yo-Yo was, we signed him late. We brought him on a visit. I believe it was it after classes ended in the spring, or was it right before? Right before. I want to say like right before finals. End of April. It was late. We brought him in, and we were excited about his prospect, and he picked up everything that we're doing pretty quickly, even though he wasn't here over the summer because he was playing with his national team. He came in the fall and picked things up very, very quickly. So he brings a pretty heady approach to the game. Yo-Yo brings a lot of excitement, a lot of it positively and sometimes not so positively. But that's that's good. That's good because the other team never knows what he's going to do. Also, we don't know and they don't know either. But the energy is the biggest thing. He brings a lot of energy. We like to play at a pretty fast pace, and we seem to be best at doing that. And we know that the game's going to be at a faster pace whenever he's in. So he certainly helps with that, and he's totally fearless. And that's his, I think, his biggest quality. The other young man we have with us is Eddy Kayouloud. Eddy has been here for quite some time and has grown leaps and bounds and has always been a great young man, but he's turned into an outstanding young man, a great representative of this university. He graduated and did very well in undergrad, and he's in grad school now doing very well. He's, of course, doing very well on the basketball court. A quick story about Eddy, not to try to embarrass him, but when he was on his visit, I remember us sitting in Hideaway Pizza, and we were sitting down to eat, and SK Kirsipuu we were all there eating. You guys remember SK? SK's 6'9", pretty good, 6'9", 6'10", pretty good sized guy, and Eddy asked SK how much he weighs, and SK said, "Oh, I'm about 220, and in my best Eddy voice, he says, "Oh, you are small." But anyway, we've had lots of moments with Eddy, and most of them good. But Eddy, if you would come up now and share what you're studying now in grad school, what Conway has meant to you, what UCA has meant to you, and then we can open up for questions.
Hello, everyone. So in my undergrad, I got a bachelor degree in business administration. At first, I chose accounting, but then I realized it wasn't for me. It was just too much work, and I didn't have the time. Now I'm in grad school, so I am trying to get my MBA in 1 year instead of 2. And my concentration is in finance. And really what Conway meant to me is, I think the best description I could give is family. Like, just the love that everyone brings to the table, just the support. It's not even just on the court, even off the court, just when you walk around campus or in the city, people say hi to you. They ask you how you're doing, how's life going. That just means a lot to me, and just the love that everyone shows. That makes me want to be part of the family and the community and give back. And that's just what I love about UCR. Any questions?
Favorite UCA basketball memory?
The game against Stephen F. Austin, we played them in the Ferry Center. I think we were down like three point at the end, and the crowd just went crazy, and that just boosted us up. And then I think we ended up losing the game by 1 point, but that's just because you have terrible referees. It wasn't.
I agree with that.
Best memory so far.
Did you come here directly from France or like yo-yo?
So like yo-yo, I played in France for about 15 years. Then when I was 16, I did the World Championship with the French national team. And after that, I went to Oak Hill. So I was pretty much a junior in high school.
Oak Hill
In Virginia. Yeah, so I did 2 years in high school before I came to UCA. So like yo-yo, except I was a junior. Yes, sir.
This year you're playing much more physical than you have in the past, but also you're getting beat up a lot underneath you. Getting hurt.
I was just telling Coachy this, that I was getting pushed a lot lately, even though after the trip to Ireland, I gained 10 pounds in less than a week. Even though I'm heavier, I'm getting pushed more. So I think what's been helping me is just taking care of my body, just resting when I need to, doing stretches with Coachy, and just paying attention to what I eat. And also, we started this week with a float spa, I think that's their name. We started going to their place, and they've been great, and they've been helping us recover. Messiah and I, yesterday, we did what is it called, the salt bath? Yeah, the salt bath, and that's really helpful. I think next week we're gonna try to do the cryo room, which is like a big old chamber that helps you recover.
I have one more question. Because you've been here a while, how have you seen things change in men's basketball since you first came on the team?
I think the biggest change that I've seen on the basketball team is the relation between the players and the coach. Before, when the coaching style was different, it was, I want to say it was like one-sided. It was more the coaches telling us what to do and us responding. But now it's more like a conversation. Like we have our say. Like we tell the coach what we think about. I mean, it's not just we tell our coach what we think about. They actually ask us. Coach Boone is actually ask us, what do you think about this? Is there anything else you guys see? Like he's actually engaging us. He's not just telling us what to do. And that goes a long way, because then you just want to bring something to the table. You're just not like a robot telling this and this. And if we don't tell you what to do, you'll be like, oh, we didn't see this. You didn't tell us to do this in practice. Yes. So yeah, that. Yes.
The crowd at the Fair Center loves to chant Eddy.
Yes, I don't know why. I think the first thing I'm thinking when I hear it, I'm myself, it's like a little voice in my head. I'm screaming too, Eddy, Eddy, Eddy. Like I'm screaming with you all. I'm like, Eddy. I don't know. But man, it's just like a big boost that just pushes me, and I just love it.
By the way, I started that Eddy chant.
You sure did. You sure did.
You're welcome.
Thank you. But every now and then, before we start the game, we know we like turn the light off.
Yeah, exactly.
When you were in Ireland and visited the school, how did the children react to y'all?
That was very touching, because one of the very first things they did is they sang 2 songs for us, and just the second song I almost cried. I recorded it. That was really nice. I still listen to this song, like when I go to the locker room before practice, I listen to the song, and the other guys are asking me, oh, was that the song the kids sing? I'm like, yeah. Did I answer your question? What was the question?
The kids react to y'all, and I mean, did they,
That was amazing. I think when we got there, the first thing they did is just clap for us, and they had like the song playing, like the song they play at the Ferry Center, and they were just chanting UCA, UCA, and that really was a tough moment. That was nice.
also, I felt like, and y'all may not, but I felt like they were more for Niagara, the people there.
Yes.
They were more,
Well, unfortunately, the kids were for us. I think they said they would try to make it to the game, but I don't know if they made it to the game because I didn't hear them. So most of the crowd that was there was for Niagara.
yeah.
But they were there in spirit. Yes, sir.
I want to relate, and you probably don't remember this, but the first time I met you,
In the volleyball,
you do remember.
in the volleyball, I was asking you about the
He
walls.
tried to tell me his name, and I'm old and didn't understand. So he pulls up on the UCA app, the lineup, and shows me his name. And he handed me his phone. And the next thing I know, he was gone, and I still had his phone. I thought, how trusting is this young man? He just felt good enough to be able to walk off and leave his phone with me. But he was that personable, and he remembers that. And that was a great experience for me.
Yes, it was for me too, sir.
Now you understand volleyball, all right?
Yes. And actually there was, I think they're still doing it. It's every time you go to a UCA event or UCA sports, you log in into your app to say that you've been there. And him and I, we were competing my sophomore year. We were like, who's gonna be there to the most games? And I think I almost beat him, but he beat me there.
What was your biggest adjustment from playing in France to playing in the U.S.?
The physicality. In France, it's more about like the fundamentals, the academic basketball, like doing the right play, passing the ball, playing together, playing as a team. In the US, especially when I went to Oak Hill, it was a lot of individualism. Like every player were trying to get theirs. Of course, there are still plays and sets that we were trying to do together, but the physicality, everyone is more athletic in the US. That was the biggest adjustment for me. And the language too. Because players like to trash talk on the court, and a lot of the times they were talking to me, I was like, whatever you're saying, I do not understand. So you can keep on, I do not get it. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Eddie. Eddie has done a great job of molding the skill work he learned in France with the physicality he's learned since he's been in the U.S. and does some amazing things on the court. And sometimes he does things and I have to turn around and just shake my head and wonder what did I just see. There was one move he did in the game Sunday, and he did almost a 360 before he shot the ball, and I have no idea how it went in, but it did. And I turned around and probably looked at Jeff and Brock and maybe Sam sitting behind the bench, and just I don't know what, you know, and I've told my staff, when I played, I was the best post defender in the country. There were things that I could do and lots of things I couldn't do, but that was one thing I could do, and I was the best at it in the country. I would not want to guard Eddy Kayouloud. I would not. I would be unsuccessful at that. I would be. But beyond that, these two young men are a lot like the rest of the team. They're a wonderful, wonderful group. And if they weren't any good at basketball, I would still enjoy coaching them, because they're a great group of young men that are hardworking, very dedicated, and they give all that they have. And I feel very, very fortunate to be here at UCA and to be able to be around them and the staff that I get to work with. I'm very fortunate and blessed, well beyond what I deserve. And thank you guys for allowing me to work with you. Well, thank you. Do you have any questions for me? Yes, ma'am.
So, they both come from European backgrounds. How is it different coaching those young men coming from European backgrounds and, like Eddy talked about, the finesse and the passing as opposed to the strength and one-on-oneness that we see in the U.S.? How is that different for you as a coaching staff?
That is a good question. That's a great question. And I guess we try not to make it any different. We do a lot of things. We put them through drills, and when Eddy first got here, he did look a little lost. He would probably say he was a lot lost. But we just kept working with him. We would drill out things. We'd put him through a lot of repetition, and eventually he would just catch on. And it just takes repetition in it. In Yo-Yo's position, he plays guard. He plays point guard usually, and sometimes off guard. That's a little bit different. He tries to play rough and physical anyway, so it's not a big adjustment for him. But really, it's just putting them through the drills we do in practice, everything we do to get them adjusted to it. So, these guys are intelligent, and they adjust pretty quickly.
Real quickly, anything about Loyola Chicago?
Yes, Loyola Chicago is a pretty good team. They got a pretty good collection of players. They got pretty good size. Not sure about their quickness, but they've got pretty good size. They got a couple of guys that can score well. They got one really, really good shooter, and another player that's a really good scorer that we'll have to guard well. They move the ball well. They move without the ball very well. And with the way that we guard, sometimes that can give us trouble because we do a lot of switching in our defense. We have to communicate very well. We have to be very, very focused every second we're on defense. So that's going to present a challenge to us. I think if we can handle that, we'll give ourselves a pretty good chance in that game. And if we can keep the pace up, they don't like to play very fast. So if we can play with the pace that we like to play, and if our defense can be pretty solid, I believe we can give ourselves a pretty good chance in that game. That's a great program, and it wasn't too many years ago that they were in the Final Four. So it's a tough task to go to their place and try to challenge for a game, but that's what we're going to do. Yes, ma'am.
Is he having a slump, or is it just that he's being already down?
People are focusing on him. That's what it is. We post him a lot. That's kind of different. Most people don't post their point guards. And people have adjusted to that, so they try to send someone in to help with that. And then when he drives, they try to close the lanes down. And then there are times when our offense isn't going well and we're not hitting shots from the outside, that he tries to shoulder more of the load, and then it kind of goes south for him. And it's a learning curve for him and for us with him, because we need him on the floor, but we also don't need him to try to force some things. So we have to keep using those moments as teaching moments with him. But we discovered some things in the last game to free up some lanes for him, and I think we'll be able to adjust. And he saw that also. He's not going through a slump, I would say. I would just say that people are focused on him. And it's the same thing with Eddy. People focus on Eddy too. He's had a couple games where his field goal percentage hasn't been as good as he'd like. But because our opponents look at those two guys and they think if we can keep those two guys at bay, we'll have a good chance. And that's the way our opponents are gaming us. So.
Have you ever seen the craziest ending Friday? That last second when they were reviewing, like all three referees had to come in there and see what was going on. Because I've never seen that before, and it took like literally forever. It took longer than the overtime period.
It took a while, and I think it's just because we aren't experienced at that. I mean, honestly, I think that's what it is. I think it was the referee was waiting on the video guy to say, "Well, here are the angles," and the video guy was waiting on the ref to say, "Show me the angles," and that's why there was an angle that showed that he actually shot a three. It's just neither side was saying, "Show it to me," or "Here it is," and so it just took a while for them to get to it. But that was crazy how long it took to get to it. I actually talked to my younger daughter. My girls went home early because my older daughter, who was home for Thanksgiving break, had 20-something of her friends over for Friendsgiving that evening. So they left before the overtime period, and my younger daughter watched it on TV, and she said, "I saw a replay that showed it was a three. I don't know why it took so long." So she should have been there. But I think it was just inexperience of that kind of situation. So we should be better at it next time. If it comes to it next time, hopefully we can be better. So it doesn't come to it next time. We can be in a situation where we win in regulation.
So what was the strategy there with Eddy? Obviously, he missed the free throw and knocked out the side.
Yeah, that was it. We had two of our taller guys. We brought Jonas in also, who's 6'11", almost 7 feet, and super long arms. And every day in practice, that's what he does anyway. He sticks his arm out and taps balls back, and we have a hard time rebounding when he's in. So we figured he would have a chance on one side and Churchill on the other. And that actually is something we have worked on since we've started our team workouts. We started working on that, was that in the summer or early fall? We started working on that in the summer. The reason we started working on that was last year when we played North Alabama. And we won that game at home. Coop got fouled on a three-point attempt right before time expired. We were down 2. No, we were down 1. We were down 1. He hit the first 2 free throws, and I told him miss the second one because they can't get a shot off then. Because if we were up 2, they hit a 3, it doesn't matter. Well, they couldn't get a shot, but I told him to miss, and he fired it up there and didn't hit the rim. So we said, this is something we have to practice. So that's the first thing we did. We worked on how to miss a free throw, and then we worked on missing a free throw intentionally so that we can tap a rebound out to someone so we can get a shot. So the guys have practiced that several times. We had Coop and Masai out so that they can go to the wings, and whichever side it came out on, our guys could tap it out to one of them. And Churchill got it. Eddy shot it perfectly. Churchill got it out to Masai, and he got a clean look. Well, they put all 4 of their guys on the line, so they only had 1 out there, and that 1 face guarded Coop. And I told my staff, if we're ever in that situation, then we need to put only 3 on the line and have 2 guys out so we can face guard both of them. And just live with, if they tap it out, we're gonna make sure they don't get a 3. So I'm not surprised because they thought they were gonna try to get the rebound. But maybe they'll learn from that too, I don't know. It's a learning point for us on the other side of that though. Yes, ma'am. 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock. Don't know why. It's a single game, but it's at 8 o'clock.
I figured they wanted earlier, so Mr. Jean.
She may have to leave that time.
She has to go to mass first.
That might be what it is. They're accommodating her. Okay, boss man has gotten up, so my time is ended.
That was great. Thank you, Coach Boone, and thank you for your staff and your student athletes. And these are just two of the many that they bring to our campus, and we're so proud to have you guys here. Eddie, if you want to come back for another year, just keep on coming. We love you to be around. You know, we're talking about Eddie, and you know he's thick and he can bang around with them. And what he told to SK, I like that. And I'm thinking about Austin Hopper. Yeah. I can knock him around too. He doesn't even weigh 200 pounds. And he's like 6'8", Eddie. So anyway, by the way, the guy, the center from Northwestern State, he was a big man. He was a big man. This guy was 7'3", 300 and something pounds. I'm talking huge. And he did bang you around a little bit. I'm sorry. I know.
Not very long ago.
Would you tell him he's skinny or weak?
I tell you, block my shot, I was like, come on, man.
I forgot, he did. He did block a shot, didn't he? Yeah, he was big. Yo-Yo, thanks for coming today. We look forward to seeing you for many years, so thanks for being here. You're a lot of fun to watch. The only thing that I would like to say is we are this close to having a football schedule for next year, and I know everybody's ready to know the dates. We have gotten the schedule. It has been sent around to all of the ADs for them to vet with their coaches to make sure there's no issues, and I think we're that close to announcing, so be on the lookout for that. We'll be announcing real soon for our full 11-game schedule next year. Looking forward to that. All right, what about anything anybody needs to say or any questions? Mr. Jean, you good? Good day to be a Bear. That was fun. That was a lot of fun. Thank you, guys. All right, well, let's go Bears and Sugar Bears and Bear Claws up.